Well, Friday has become now the most interesting thing. As you all know now, WWE released many new wrestlers this time that coming from NXT, which was unexpected. There are some wrestlers that many fans probably did not expect, but also two of them were in fact involved in 205 Live, which could be the last time we ever see them there. We even got New Japan Strong with the latest tour, Road to Summer Struggle USA. We even got two events by All Japan Pro Wrestling, Junior Battle of Glory 2021, where each competitor will be fighting for a chance of the AJPW Junior Heavyweight title, and also decided just to throw in, which was unexpected for me, AEW Dark. So let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that it's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So, you may have heard now from the previous DWZ news update alert, where several wrestlers have now been released from WWE's NXT brand. Now, this was very unexpected. There were wrestlers that I did not expect they would be released, others that we were seeing that were just coming back from whatever their injuries or time off, whatever the scenario is. But from what I can tell, only 13 wrestlers have been announced they were released from the NXT brand. So here they are: Bronson Reed, Bobby Fish, Leon Ruff, Tyler Rust, Jake Atlas, Mercedes Martinez, Asher Hill, and Giant Zangier, Saccharin Smith, Kona Reeves, Ari Sterling, Steven Smith, and Desmond Troy. Now, some of these wrestlers, I'm a bit of surprise. Bronson Reed, we have been aware that he's been showing up in the dark matches either in Raw or SmackDown. As for Bobby Fish, well, he did came back from his injury that he obtained. Um, Leon Ruff just recently just came back on 205 Live. Um, Tyler Rust, well, we do know he just formed a new faction with Malcolm Belvins called Diamond Mine, and it's kind of surprising that they just released them. And of course, we have Jake Atlas, who I saw him recently as well. Mercedes Martinez, we haven't seen her since her defeat with Zaya Lee. Asher Hale, I haven't seen him since a week ago. Giant Zangier since the spectacular event. Ari Sterling just recently with 205 Live, and the rest I haven't seen them since. But I know some of you probably saying, "Is this another case of the budget cuts?" Well, to me, that's the last thing I want to hear. But now there's been word that it's appearing that WWE wants to repackage NXT. Now you probably saying, "What is that supposed to mean?" As you know, many of these wrestlers came from the independents. So the idea what WWE wants now is to breed their own brand of wrestlers strictly from WWE. That's from what I'm hearing. Now, I don't know exactly how that works, but we can say for the wrestlers that were released, we know those were good wrestlers and good stars that will be okay in whatever promotion they'll be picked up. It could be either AEW, NWA, Impact Wrestling, possibly MLW. Wherever they go, we will be there to give them our support. That's what we need to do for them. So right now, we know they cannot speak on behalf. I know that some of them are don't know what to say, but right now we'll see what they'll put. I will follow up more on this. So it's very shocking, but at the same time, not surprising. We would assume it was over, but no. So it looks like the saga did continue after all, but for now, let's just put a pin on that and see what we go from there. Okay, since I mentioned the releases from WWE's from the NXT brand, let's talk about 205 Live. Now, as we normally do, there's two matches that they put up. I have to say, this is one of the two best matches I've seen so far in 205 Live. We have Grayson Waller, who had a suffering loss a week ago, taking on the return of Leon Ruff. Now, this is where I want to put a little pause here. I like to know, okay, if you're planning to bring him back, why did you release him now? That is another question. Now, we do know Leon Ruff before going to WWE, he was part of Evolve. So we don't know why his contract was picked up because of that. So we'll see where they go. But the match was pretty good. Now, I would have assumed that Grayson Waller was going to win this one, but Leon Ruff pulled it off with an amazing win. This time it was an upset to Grayson Waller because he believes that he is all that, and that kind of plays out. But however, in this case, it was Leon Ruff, who we know him as a former North American champion, but he pulled it off very nicely. But it's disappointing to me that we won't get to see him anymore, and hopefully he'll land somewhere where we can see him. The next match, which is the main event, we have Aries Sterling, who I followed when he was known as Alex Zane in the Independence. Um, he's an amazing wrestler. I enjoyed his rivalry with Trey Baxter, who was known as Blake Christians. He's a great wrestler, but if this is his final match, he went out great, taking on the current NXT Cruiserweight Champion Kushida. Now, some of you can say, but he lost the match. I would say he probably put up a good match because it showed he can hang with guys like Kushida. I mean, I am disappointed that they let him go as well. But we know he'll be okay. We know he'll be picked up somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back with GCW or so to whatever, because that's where I've been seeing him in, mostly in GCW. But we'll see what that. But the match was great. Kushida even ended it with putting him in the hoverboard lock, and of course he's proving his dominance as a cruiserweight. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, Leon Ruff and Aries Sterling, if this is their last match being on 205 Live, then it's great to see that they had some really good matches here. Um, but like I said, let's show our support for these guys no matter where they go. So let's do that right now. Okay, New Japan Strong just started their latest tour, Road to Summer Struggle USA. Now, this is something I did not expect, but at the same time, I felt pretty good about it because some of the matches were very impressive. We got some debuts, some interesting tag team matches, but also a very interesting ending in this event. The opening match was Kevin Knight, the young lion from the LA Dojo, taking on the debut of Alexander James. Now, keep in mind, I don't know who this guy is. From what I can tell, he trained with Adam Cole in the same gym, and also he came all the way from the promotion known as WXW. If you guys are not familiarized, it's a German promotion from there called World Extreme Wrestling. Basically, they have an affiliation with WWE. If you guys don't know about it, you can see some of their matches either on YouTube, if you can find it, or wherever they're being broadcast from. But it was a very impressive match, getting to know Alexander James. He is a little bit more a grappling style, but it was a pretty good match. And of course, I think we may see him more on New Japan Strong from here on. But like I said, I don't know anything about him, but I'll do my absolute best to find out more about him. So he won his match against Kevin Knight. Now the next match we have another tag team between between the Young Lions and veteran wrestlers. We have Alex Coughlin teaming up with Ren Narita taking on Fred Rouser and Rocky Romero. Now this match was pretty good because in a way we don't know how Rocky Romero and Fred Rouser will communicate because We know that Fred Rosser can team up with anybody. That's always been the case for me. However, it played out pretty well, and I have to say it was Rocky who pulled off the victory when he put um, Red Narita in the armbar. But however, it appears that Red Narita in the post match he wants a piece of Fred Rosser. So we know we can see a match like that, but we just got to wait and see what the matchmakers have to say about that. Now, the main event, we have Danny Limelight and JR Kratos of Team Filthy taking on the West Coast Wrecking Crew, Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaac. I have to say, this is the best match of the night. The back and forths, pinfalls, submissions, wherever. I have to say, what an amazing match. I have to say, it was the match of the night. I cannot deny that. I don't know how you guys would feel about it, but it was a good one. But however, in the end, it was Team Filthy to pick up the victory on this match, all thanks to the teamwork between both JR Kratos and Limelight. However, it appears there was going to be a scuffle between two teams, but to break it up is none other than the strong openweight champion himself, Tom Lawler. It appears that he had other ideas. As you know, Tom Lawler made it perfectly clear that he wants to conquer New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that's what he's going to do. It appears that he extended an invitation and his hand to the West Coast Wrecking Crew, bringing them into Team Filthy. So it looks like now we're seeing a much stronger faction within New Japan Strong. But the real question is, will this be a problem for anybody who would challenge Tom Lawler for the strong openweight title? So we'll just gotta wait and see. So I think that's it for now for New Japan Strong. I say let's move on with All Japan Pro Wrestling's latest events. Okay, so this is day one for All Japan Pro Wrestling's Junior Battle of Glory 2021. Now, this is a tournament where it's only a 2-day event. Whoever wins it possibly will get a chance of the junior heavyweight title that I think Shima was holding at the time. I just found out he doesn't anymore, but we'll catch up much as possible, like I always do. So, um, here are the matches that took place. All the first day, it's all first round matches, all 8 of them. So the first match we have Akira Francisco taking on Tajiri. Now this is a very interesting match. Tajiri and Akira known each other pretty well. They have teamed before until Tajiri joined Total Eclipse, a villain faction that now wants to control All Japan Pro Wrestling. But somehow Akira Francisco was able to pull it off when he pinned Tajiri, allowing him to advance. The next match we have is Black Minsori taking on a member of Total Eclipse, Yosuke Kodama. I would have assumed that this is one of those matches where when I see Kodama, he is one of those guys like he knows he's going to win. And of course, Black Mansoor, who is very energetic, would do every possible way to win, but frankly, it did not end so well because Kodama was the more dominant person in the match. So he advances. He'll be part of the second round in day 2, along with Akira Francisco. Next match, we have Fuminori Abe taking on a member of Purple Haze, Devil Murasaki. This is one of those matches where Murasaki is out of his freaking mind. He doesn't play by the rules, but however, somehow Fuminori Abe was able to overturn that and allow himself to win the match, even though the Murasaki is not a happy camper. So he advances into the second round. Next match, we have another member of Purple Haze, Zanagi taking on Brown K. It was a very interesting match, and not only that, Kai brought an Ultimo Dragon mask. You ask yourselves, why did he bring that? If you guys know this, Ultimo Dragon, before going back to Dragon Gate, was there with All Japan for a short amount of time. However, both competitors used that because they tried to channel Ultimo Dragon, but however, it was Azanagi who actually picked up the victory. He advanced the second round, but however, Braham Kai is not happy with the loss, and you can guess why. He felt that he stole this match from him, but apparently there's nothing he can do to overturn it, so Izanagi advances into the second round. Next match, we have Azuki Aoyagi taking on Sugi. Those who don't know, I know who Sugi is. He is a fantastic wrestler. First time I saw him, he went to Mexico for AAA to join Kenzo Suzuki to form a faction known as Yakuza with another guy named Oriental, who is Sugi may be small, but don't be fooled by his size because he's an excellent high flyer, and I have to say he is still one incredible wrestler, and I have to say one of the most best junior heavyweights that I have to watch. And of course, it was him who won. He's very impressive. Even when he did a cartwheel in the ring and he flipped out of the ring, and that kind of plays out pretty well. But Sugi, who is an incredible wrestler, is in fact won his match and he advances in the second round. Next up, we got Dan Tamura of Evolution taking on Tatsuhiro Takaiwa. Hopefully I pronounce it right. Uh, I have noticed how this guy Takaiwa. He seems like a junior heavyweight, but he's more like the kind of like Drew Gulak in every way. Using, even though he's a smaller guy, he uses like the catch point, like catch wrestling style, and that kind of plays out in its way because Evolution are in that type of scenario where they use a lot of grappling, even though there are certain wrestlers in that group that are submission tactics. But it was Takawa who actually won the match by a great submission. So he advances in the second round. Next up, we have Okudo Omori taking of Total Clips taking on another member of Evolution, Hikaru Sato. This is one great match, I have to say. Basically, Hikaru Sato, he is an amazing wrestler. Like I said, he has that kind of like a catch wrestling submission style that played out pretty well for him. Even he used that against Mori to pick up a victory and advanced in the second round. And then next up, we got Strongheart member El Lindaman taking on Next Rem Ryzen Hayato. And this is one of those matches where you're seeing, we can agree that El Lindaman is a great wrestler. He is amazing the way he is. Not only that, being one of the most fun and interesting factions in all the world, Stronghearts, and he was able to pick up a great victory. However, he called out everybody from the junior heavyweight, the ones that won their matches. He's making it perfectly clear that even though he is originally not from that promotion, he wants to win the title and prove he is one of the best junior heavyweight contenders in all of Japan. But the real question is, who will be the one to take him out to prove him wrong? So that's going to take place on day 2. So I say let's get to that right about now. Okay, so right now we're in day 2 for All Japan Pro Wrestling's Junior Battle of Glory 2020. This took place on the 3rd of June. I forgot that the first one took place on the 2nd, and they're all in Shinkiba Night, so they are an amazing venue. But however, let's just move on with this tournament. The first 4 matches are the second rounds, where we did see who won their in the first round. So let's get to that right now. First match, we have Akira Francisco taking on Tatsuhiro Takawa. I have to say this match was incredible because, like I said, Takawa, he seems like the more of the grappler type, not a high flyer. But I have seen Francisco Akira, he can do both. He's like another version of Matt Sydal, but he is impressive. I did not expect him that he was going to advance, but I think his combination of both high flying and submission helped him win this match. And that's what he did. He used his high flying and won the match against Takawa and earning his respect. So he advances into the semifinal. Next match, we got Sugi taking on Yosuke Kodama. Now, once again, I have to say Sugi is one of my favorite wrestlers I've ever seen from a long time ago. He seems like he's still in good shape, but I did not expect a whole lot because Kodama, his opponent is Yosuke Kodama of Total Eclipse. You would have imagined that somehow this guy was able to pull it off with his sadistic ways, but it did not. Sugi somehow overcome all of the assaults from that, and of course, allowing himself the win and advanced in the semifinals. Next match, we got Funamori Abe taking on Hikaru Sato. I have to say, another great match. I think I'm becoming a fan of Hikaru Sato. He's a very interesting wrestler, great submission specialist. He seems like he knows what he's doing. I did not expect that he was going to win this one because I would have assumed Funuri Abe was going to win it, but no, it was Hikaru Sato who pulled it off with an amazing submission move. And finally, we got Izunagi taking on the more cocky member of Strong Hearts, El Lindaman. He is on the quest mission to prove he is the best junior heavyweight in all of Japan and possibly the world. And who can deny that? And I have to say, he really overcome Izunagi when he pinned him. And of course, Izunagi must be disappointed, but El Lindaman is the current winner for this match. So he advances in the semi-final round. Now let's get to the semifinals of that. We got Sugi versus Akira Francisco. Now, Azugi's main weapon is a high flyer. Akira Francisco, his main weapons are high flying and grappling. And I have to say, if I was a betting man, I would go for Akira Francisco because guys like them, it proves that he can combine two of the most interesting styles in wrestling would win. Now, no disrespect to Sugi, he's an amazing wrestler, but I have to say Akira really pulled it off very nicely when he put him in a submission move and allowing himself to advance in the finals. Next up, we got El Lindaman taking on Hikaru Sato, and you probably would have guessed El Lindaman somehow won this one, and possibly Hikaru Sato was probably not a happy camper that he lost, but it happened. So basically, El Lindaman will face Akira Sato in the final match. So let's go to the match prior before that, which is like the semi-final match. We got an 8-man tag team match. We got Devil Murasaki, Izanagi, Ikuru Umaru, and Tajiri taking on Blackman Sori, Atsuki Ayogi, Rising Hayato, and Dan Tamura. This is one of those matches where you know for a fact this is one of the interesting. We got the heels versus the faces on both sides. But, however, it was Black Monsuri who picked up the victory for his team, pinning, of course, Uzanagi. I think it was Uzanagi. I don't know, but it was a good way for him to win the match, allowing himself for his team to win. Now let's get to the main event, which is the final for the Junior Battle of Glory 2021. We got El Lindaman and Akira Francisco. This is one great match. I have to say this is the battle of one of the great matches that All Japan has put right now with the junior heavyweight division. As you know, in the early days, they had a lack of credibility for that. This is why Mitsuharu Misawa left in the first place. And I have to say they really changed a lot in those years since then. And this match really played off pretty well. Now, you would have assumed that Lil Lindaman was going to win, but no, I have to say they're giving the opportunity to Akira Francisco, who won when he actually put El Lindaman out by putting him in a submission, and of course he had no other choice but to tap out. And Akira Francisco won the match, so he'll get a shot of the junior heavyweight title, and that'll be coming up soon. And I hope you guys enjoy me reviewing All Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, keep in mind, these events took place on the 2nd and 3rd of June. So, let's just keep moving forward with AEW Dark. Okay, the last thing I'm going to review, I wasn't planning on doing this, but this in fact came out of nowhere. I had to do it. I could not resist, but I did it anyway. They just posted on their YouTube channel AEW the latest Dark episode. I like I said, I couldn't resist, so I decided, what the hell? So let's just start with it. Let's go with the opening match. We have the Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus, along with Marco Stunt taking on Ryzen and D3. As you can guess, this match falls in favor of Jurassic Express. Not only that, Ryzen even pissed off the dinosaur. But I have to say, it was a very impressive match because we're seeing now Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus as a cohesive unit as they always been. So that's how I always see these guys. So they won their match, so let's move on. Next match, we got the resident alien of AEW, Chris Statlander, along with freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, taking on Layla Gray, who has come back. So far, you can guess that Chris Statlander, with her powerness and of course a little boop, she always wins her matches that way in every pass. In her main weapon that ended the match was the Big Bang Theory on Layla Gray. 1, 2, 3. She won the match. Next up, we got the Lucha Brothers, Rey Fenix and Penta El Cero Miedo, along with Alex Brahamontes, taking on Jake St. Patrick, excuse me, Jake St. Patrick and Sage Scott. I have to say, tonight's match with the Lucha Brothers was very impressive. Now, the commentators made one good comment, both Excalibur and Taz. They need to get back on the title run. I feel like we definitely need to see the Lucha Brothers get a shot of the tag team titles. However, Andrade feels that because they're being held back by Pac, here's the thing. Pac is not their leader. He is their friend, their brother. I mentioned this before. Either one of them, whoever they team up. I mean, look, if Pac got the AEW title, the Lucha Brothers get the tag team titles. Or Penta gets the AEW World title, Pac and Phoenix get the tag team titles. Or if it's Phoenix get the AEW title, Pac and Penta get the title. But that's not how they see it. Basically, that's how it is. But for Andrade, he thinks he can give them the world. But we'll get to that at another time. But however, they pull off an amazing victory with that pile driver, and of course Rey Fenix ensuring Sage Scott does not get involved in the match, allowing for Penta to pick up the victory with the 1, 2, 3. Now, in recent weeks, we have noticed the feud between both Big Swole and Diamante. This has started long enough, and apparently, here's how it is. Big Swole will never forget she wanted Diamante to keep her mouth shut, costing her some money and all of that stuff. So, however, Mark Henry was trying to get things in perspective. Why is this happening? But things could not hold the composure. And of course, Mark Henry said this, take it up in the ring. And I had to agree. Next up, we got the resident cheerleader, Julie Hart, being accompanied by the Varsity Blondes, taking on who they were? Oh yeah, Angelica Risk. I have to say that Julia in this match has developed a lot more better and a bit more aggressive than we should expect, because, as you know, it's still unclear about. We do know that the Varsity Blondes, Pillman and Griffin and Garrison, are in fact full-time members of the roster. Julia is not, but I have to say, in this match, it did show a bit more betterness. It's like Julia Hart is growing and growing more. I have to say, this match was very impressive. I say it's not one of the best matches, but it was a good match, and I can feel that she can grow even more out of this. And of course, she ended it with the Bulldog splits and 1, 2, 3. She wins the W. Next up, we got All Ego Ethan Page taking on Baron Black. As you know how Ethan is. He thinks he's all that. But of course, he wins the match by putting the Ego's edge on Baron Black, winning it with the W, 1, 2, 3. Next up, we got The Factory, Aaron Solo and Nick Camarada being accompanied by QT Marshall, or as he calls himself, Marshall, taking on the Gun Club, Colton and Billy. Now, there is no love lost between these two teams. due to the fact that the Gun Club are members of the Nightmare family, and of course, the Factory are a splinter group that broke away from them because they don't believe in their ways. But however, as all of this was happening, it was um, Billy Gunn that picked up the tights and won the match on Aaron Solo, picking up the 1, 2, 3. Even though QT saw it, nothing will get done for him, so he'll think that they cheated, but it is what it is. Next up, we got Pretty Peter Avalon along with the Wingmen taking on the Elite Hunter, Frank Kazarian. Now, keep in mind, Frankie Kazarian, he is walking this whole path alone to take on the Elite. Now, he's fully aware of Peter Avalon's buddies, the Wingmen, being on ringside, but he had to be more extra careful. Now, there were moments that Peter Avalon thought he can get away, but the one thing he couldn't get away is a taste of the chicken wings on him, and he had to tap out. So Frank Kazarian won this match with the W, and his quest to destroy the Elite will continue on. Next up, we got a 6-man tag team match, a trios match. We got Dante Martin teaming up with the Seidel brothers, Matt and Mike, taking on Darius Banting, Varian Morales, and Aaron Fry. I have to say, this combination with Dante and the Seidel brothers is amazing. I have to say, Dante has a brother who's also a high flyer. Imagine that there's 2 sets of brothers in the same group. That would be sick. But I have to say, this trios is amazing. There you got the older generation, the older generation teaming with the younger generation. It's a good combination. I have to say, it's one of the most interesting matches to watch. And of course, it was Matt Seidel that picked up the victory when he pinned and Aaron Fry. I think it was him. Next up, we got Lance Archer taking on Trey Lamar while Jake Roberts, he's in the commentary. Lance Archer wasted no time with Trey Lamar being outside, and he attacked him, and you can guess that he put him out in the black hole, and 1, 2, 3, it is over. It didn't take too long, but he won just like that. Next up, we got Abaddon taking on Kelsey Heather. Now, as you know, Abaddon is the most scariest person you ever want to meet, but Kelsey Heather should have known better not to let your guard down, think you took care of Abaddon, because, as you know, Abaddon is a very unorthodox wrestler, but it did help her get many wins in AEW ever since she started coming around. But Heather paid it with her price, and of course, Abaddon won like that with the 1, 2, 3. Main event, we got Jora Joel, being accompanied by Private Party, taking on Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy, being accompanied by the best friend, Chris Wheeler and Chucky T. In this one, you see Chris Statlander actually eating food, and of course, Orange doesn't like that. Basically, you do not bring food in the ring. It irritates him, but it helped. But the one thing that played out pretty well is Jora Jarrell took time by being a showboat, not realizing that he had everything under his control, but Orange Cassidy took him out with the Superman punch and allowing himself to win, and everybody gets a hug, and the people got what they want. As for Jora Jarrell, well, let's see what Matt Hardy will in store for him the next time we see him. So I think that's pretty much it with AEW Dark. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. You know, I did not expect to do AEW Dark, but I did plan for the 205 Live. What was it? The New Japan Strong, the 2 shows for All Japan Pro Wrestling. As for the WWE releases, that wasn't even part of the plan either, but as you know, I have to do it because this is very important stuff that took place. So there's a lot of things that are going to be discussed in the podcast. That includes this one as well, the releases and other things that took place. So stand by for that. Coming up for the next episode, I have everything written down. We have Got to Move Pro Wrestling for the latest Choco Pro 143 taking on. This is one of the last 2 events that we will see Emi Sakura there before she heads out to the US to join AEW. We even got the continuation of Summer Struggles in for New Japan Pro Wrestling, but also is the beginning of the Super Junior Tag League, which is the annual tournament who will be the number one contender to take on the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, the Bullet Club members, El Fantasmo and Taiji Shimori. And finally, we're going to have the latest GCW event, No Signal in the Hills. So this is going to be a very interesting match. We only got 3 events. However, the only reason I'm doing 3 events is because I got other commitments happening right now. Um, but I will do much as possible because I know I can watch the first 2, Got to Move and New Japan. As for the other Game Changer, I can see it later on in the evening once it comes out. But as for that, that's what we're gonna be doing for that. But as for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, mwah, and have a nice day. Bang.